Good morning. I'd like to call the Agricultural Service Board January 11th, 2023 meeting to order. Note this meeting is recorded and may be posted on official Wheatland County social media channels. Agricultural Service Board is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with the Municipal Government Act Section 199. Council chambers is open for public attendance in person while continuing to use the telecommuting process in place. To join the meeting via teleconference, dial 403-917-1764 and enter the PIN 47001 when prompted. I'd like to do a quick call to make sure everyone is on the line. We have Shannon Laprise here, Tom Eichart, Ryan Greer, Glenn Kester, Jason Wilson, Brad Bullock, and George Bloom. That's myself. Is there Sandra on the line, or Rick, or nobody? All right. We have an agenda before us. Are there any additions or amendments to the agenda?
I should have brought this up to your attention before. I'd just like to talk about when Scott Clausen stepped down. There was discussion that we'd be allowing councillors to go to ASB meetings if they want, or ASB convention. So just put that, I guess that's what the resolution to discuss that anyhow. So.
Okay, I will make that item 2.3.6 regarding Scott's attendance to the Provincial Ag Service Board Conference.
I think it'll be 0.8 because you've already got two additions that you proposed.
It comes first, I believe. Yeah. So we'll move chronologically from 0.6. Are there any other additions?
Yeah, I'd like to just bring forward a new business for consideration from the board to attend.
Could you say your name, please?
Sorry, Ryan Greer. I'd like to propose setting a contingent to Olds College for Ag Smart 2024, July 30th.
All right, Ag Smart, July 30th. And that's for ASB members?
That would be for councillors or ASB members to attend as a Wheatland County contingent, similar to the County of Painted Earth has sent a contingent in previous years.
I will make that 2.3.7. Are there any other additions or amendments from the floor?
Yes, Jason Wilson. Just when we're looking at awards today, I think we could consider having a conversation around another one. Women in agriculture within the county, I think, would be very important. It's becoming quite the topic in most ag circles, whether it be commodity groups or beef producers. And we're seeing a lot more women wanting to stay in agriculture, but I also want to make sure we always highlight those that have always been in, and the typical women in agriculture that have raised the family and done the books, and it can't just be the new ones looking to come back home to farm. I think it should be the broad aspect, but I think we should appreciate women in agriculture, and I would like to have a conversation around that.
Okay, I will make that agenda point 2.3.8, and we'll have that as a discussion, Women in Agriculture Award Designation. Thank you. Are there any other additions or amendments? Okay, I would like to add 2.3.9 will be the 2024 Environmental Stewardship Awards, and 2.3.0? 2.3.10 will be the ASB bursary documents update. If there is no others, may I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Also move.
Thank you, Shannon. Any opposition? All in favor? Carried. All right, so now we will move towards our organizational portion for bringing in our chair and vice chair. So I will read the proposed voting procedure. Should there be more than one nomination for a position, a secret ballot will be taken with the candidate receiving the majority of the votes declared the successful for the position. Majority being 4 or more votes. In the case where a clear majority is not successful in the first vote, then the voting would continue on the first and second choice only, and the third and subsequent parties would be eliminated. This process would continue until the clear majority is successful. So nominations for chair, I would just like to point out in our bylaw, ASB bylaw 5.2, it states annually at the first board meeting following the organizational meeting, the majority of the members of the board shall elect a council member to act as a chairperson and a second council member to act as a vice chairperson for the board. So I would like to call for nominations of the chair.
Being that there's only 5 of us here, do we still need 4 for a winning vote?
I do believe it's majority still. Yeah, it's still majority in attendance.
So it would be 3. You mentioned 4, I think.
Yeah, because we thought there were going to be more members here. I was
Yeah.
just reading off my script. I apologize.
I have a message that Sandra DeSpent has called in or will call in. She's just maybe in process. So just give her a minute maybe.
Okay.
I'm waiting in Teams. Oh. I am waiting. I will. Oh, she said she's waiting in Teams and then she said I'll dial in. So she maybe gave up on Teams and
Yes. Good
Oh.
morning, Shannon.
Sandra, you're there. Fantastic. Welcome.
Okay.
All right, we have Sandra Desmond on the line now. So we are going to move forward with a call for nominations of the chair role.
I'll nominate Shannon LaPrice for chair.
Shannon, do you accept the nomination?
I'll accept.
Wonderful. All in favor?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are there any other nominations for chair? Second reading? Hearing none, we'll move to the third reading. Calls for nomination of chair. Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Congratulations,
Thank you very much.
Chair LaPrice.
Thank you for the nomination.
And now I'll be handing the meeting over to the chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next order of business is nominations for vice chair. And again, as George pointed out, I understand this needs to be a council member. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Tom Eichert.
Tom, do you accept?
I'll accept. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any other nominations? Second call? Third call, any other nominations? Congratulations, Tom, you're vice chair.
Thank you.
All right, we have already adopted our agenda. Next order of business is adoption of the minutes from the October 4th, 2023 meeting. Any errors or omissions?
You don't have a package.
If not, motion to accept.
I'll move to adopt the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Tom. Any comments or discussion? All in favor? Oh, now that Sandra's on the line, yes, okay. Member Eichert,
Favor?
Member Greer,
Favor.
Member Kester,
In favor.
Member Wilson,
In favor.
And Member Desmet.
In favor.
And I'm in favor. That's carried. So we have some appointments. I don't see our first from Alice quite yet. So maybe we'll move on to new business. 2.3.1, Alice Wheatland Partnership Advisory Committee. George, take it away.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so the Alice Partnership Advisory Committee provision is given within the Agricultural Service Board bylaw 2019-29 for the board to appoint an advisory committee relating to its function as a board. The current Alice Wheatland Partnership Advisory Committee PAC terms of reference state that the committee representation will consist of 1 Agricultural Service Board member and 1 alternate, and 2 Agricultural Service Board members at large, with length of the term ending when the member's appointment to the ASB expires in following the ASB appointment terms. Council members are appointed annually and members at large are appointed on a staggered 3-year terms. The 2023 committee consisted of Shannon Laprise, Barry Van Laar, Sonia Bloom, Graydon Garner, Sandra Desmet, and Scott Clausen as the alternate. Administration is recommending some revisions to the Alice PAC terms of reference, some of which would impact the structure of the committee and the committee appointments that need to be made during this present ASB meeting. The proposed changes to the terms of reference are attached to this report for the board's review, with the additions shown in green and deletions shown in red. Under the current Alice PAC terms of reference, both the Agricultural Service Board council member and the alternate council member PAC position are eligible for appointment if the board approves the changes to the terms of reference as presented. Then a minimum of 1 Agricultural Service Board council member and up to 2 Agricultural Service Board members at large will need to be appointed to the Alice PAC. Also, under the current Alice PAC terms of reference, the local agro-environmental and/or non-governmental agency representatives are invited by the Alice coordinator on an annual basis for a 1-year term. If the board approves the proposed changes to the terms of reference as presented, this will add the option to appoint up to 2 producers at large or farmer liaisons to the Alice PAC. Additionally, the members from the local agro-environmental, governmental, and/or non-government agencies and producers at large or farmer liaisons will be recommended by the Alice coordinator with the final approval by Wheatland County Ag Service Board.
Just a quick note to the board on this one too. There were some late changes identified that were required for this report. So I think I noticed some people with some confused look on their faces and what they're seeing on the screen. So there was a handout with the updated report. And then for anybody, for the board members joining remotely, it was sent out by email this morning as well. So just for your reference. So there was some changes to the report itself and also to the recommended resolutions from administration.
So George, just to clarify, that the proposed changes are meant to bring on potentially more members so that we have more diverse agriculture representation on the Alice board. Is that the intent? Yeah, the intent is to keep it grassroots. And so if the PAC feels like there should be more representation from different members, then we have the flexibility to meet that rate. Right. So we're talking about a minimum of 1. So it could be from the Ag Service Board council members and then minimum of 2 members at large. So really we could have everybody on this. George Bloom here again, and Sandra Desmet is currently appointed to the Alice PAC until October 31st of 2024 as well. So okay. She's already on. She's in the member. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Any discussion about the proposed changes? Does anybody have any thoughts about?
I'm supportive of them. I reviewed them and appreciate the clarity around the what Brad had mentioned in terms of, I think it mentioned or and now it's and, so I think we're good from my perspective.
Sorry, you're saying there, it was an or, but now it's an and. I'm not, we're,
Just in regards to the motion proposed. So I thank you for the clarity and supportive of the changes. I think they're positive.
okay, yep.
Yeah, just for a little further clarification, the resolution's on screen, and apologize for the confusion.
Oh, I see.
Those would be the ones that were originally submitted. If the board wants to follow those recommendations, better to refer to the supplemental handout with the revisions. The resolution is split into two. So one would be if the board opted to not accept the changes to the terms of reference, then it would just go back to the original where it would be one counselor and one alternate voted in. If the board does choose to accept the revisions, then it would be the
Second one.
at least one counselor and then also up to 2 members at large. And as George Bloom pointed out, Sandra Desmond is already one of the members at large, and so you just need to do one more.
Sorry, it's a minimum of 2. Is that not right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. At least one more potentially for members at large.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
But could be, yeah. Okay. Everybody clear? Clear as mud? All right. Does anybody want to make a motion then, whether we choose the first or the second option?
I would motion we choose the second option, that we accept the terms and appoint as per the new term of reference.
Perfect. Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, sorry. I'm in favor. Member Reichert,
In favor?
Member Greer,
In favor.
Member Kester, Member Wilson,
In favor.
Member DeSmet.
In favor.
Thank you. That's carried. Then do we go to nominations? So first of all, for the Wheatland Council members, we need a minimum of 1. I would let my name stand for this committee. I'm currently on it and would like to continue on. Is there anybody else interested in sitting on this committee? Second time I'll call. Anybody else? Nominations, interest? Third call. All right. I guess I will be the minimum 1 person from council. Then we need a minimum of 2 members at large. We have Sandra, so we need 1 more nomination. Any interest?
I've sat on this board. It's very useful. Enjoyed it immensely, but if you'd like to.
We can have both. Like honestly,
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd let my name stand for
you
that.
both let name stand. Fantastic. No voting required, so I'll acclaim both of you to be a member of the Alice PAC. Fantastic. So now we have our committee. Congratulations, everybody. Oh, we need, a motion. Look. I'll move that the board appoint, oh, sorry, that's for me. Somebody else. On our screen, there's a motion.
Just for clarification, Sandra's still on this deal. Okay.
Would you mind, Tom, would you mind making the motion?
I'll make the motion that the board appoint Councillor Laprise as Agricultural Service Board Council member and members Wilson and member Greer as the Agricultural Service Board Committee members at large to the Alice Wheatland Partnership Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Any discussion? I'll call the vote. I'm in favor. Member Reichert,
In favor?
Member Greer,
In favor.
Member Kester, Member Wilson,
In favor?
and Member DeSmet.
In favor.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's carried. I understand that our presenter, Brian Gilvesy, CAO of Alice Canada, is on the line, prepared to give us a report, an update. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning. Can you hear me there?
We sure can. Thank you very much and welcome.
I am most pleased to join you. I'm trying to peer through the window to see if you've got any moisture on the ground. I understand you need some.
Oh, we do. It's coming down. Yeah, made for an interesting drive in this morning. It's pretty chilly here too, which we're not used to this year.
I was in Calgary on the 20th and I was in my t-shirt. I could not believe it. So
Yes.
I'm prepared to share my screen. I don't know if you'll all be able to see it. Is that great with you guys? Are we ready to go?
Yes. There we go.
So good morning. If everybody can see that.
We can. Thank you.
Very good. I'm sorry, the date, we're not in December 10th, 2024 yet. I think we should probably correct that, just in case you were wondering. I've entitled this update, and by the way, it was wonderful to watch the last few minutes of the Community in Action, Growing the Partnership Advisory Committee. It is absolutely the guts and the heart and soul of this program. I began myself as the PAC chair of the inaugural ALICE program in Norfolk County, my home county. I'm coming to you from Norfolk County. I am the third participant. I was the third participant back in 2006, and I became the chair of the first PAC. And we've grown from there with some fairly quick growth. I am a cattle raiser here. I raise Texas Longhorn cattle. I always love when the Calgarians or the Albertans come to visit me. I always just tell them to look at my skinny cattle, not their proper cattle. So, but we do sell the beef out the front door here, and that's how we make a living. The title of the presentation is intended to get you in the frame that we believe that we're in, that communities like yours are delivering nature-based solutions to environmental problems. This is consistent with how ALICE started in the beginning. And it was around, I always say it was around Ian Wishart starting in Manitoba and a bunch of others of us joining in, standing up on our hind legs saying that the people of the land, the farmers and ranchers of Canada, could provide environmental solutions. And it was a response to both the easement, sort of the way that easements were delivered to us, so that the only way conservation from our communities could happen was through a big conservation group like NCC or Ducks Unlimited. It was a bit of a reaction to that, in that we wanted to control the agenda. And it was also rejection of the notion that farmers and ranchers should be regulated to be environmentally more sound. So it's us standing up and saying, this is how things can happen. Our tagline today is at ALICE is where agriculture and nature meet. And really, when we talk to the public or the government or corporations that fund this program, what we're saying is we're harnessing something that's really important. That's the land, skills, and energy and knowledge of the people on the land to deliver these solutions, first by targeting their local priorities, but that winds up providing environmental solutions globally. It's intended entirely, this statement is to make sure that everyone understands that our work, the beneficiaries of our work is not us. It's not us on our farms and ranches. It's the Canadians and people of the planet are the beneficiaries of our work. And that, to me, gives us a higher level of importance. I take you right back to the beginning of what with the very, very beginning of Alice. This document you can see written in 2004 was written as the Farmers Conservation Plan. So it was us saying this is how we can produce conservation from our lands. And it's within this document that the 8 Alice principles were first established. This is an amazing read. We use this as our constitution when we're trying to deliver this program across the country. It's on our website if should you want to read it. It's an amazing document in that it stands up to the test of time. Now, let's not forget that we've built this program together, the people on the land, and we have, because the relationships we have to the land, that we understand both our local priorities and our land the best, we should be the ones delivering these solutions. I am the CEO of Alice, but that only means that we feel like we serve, that our board of directors is the 330 people sitting on partnership advisory committees and the 2,000 families that participate in our program. We represent their interest. We're not some outside group that is otherwise. Alice is us, we are Alice. And we're learning that this network that we've got is really, really important to the conversations around policy and how the world's going to work in the future, because this network that we have, it's a source of expertise, leadership, and inspiration. It's a marvelous thing to sort of sit atop of, but a powerful tool when we're trying to influence how the world's going to work in the years to come. You all are confident that Alice is proven and effective at this point, but I'll just give you some numbers here. We are participating with 38 community partners in 6 provinces. I believe since this has been published, we've added 2 more. We are opening in 2024 in Iowa and Ohio, so that's an interesting take that communities of farmers in Iowa and Ohio have come to us and asked us to bring that program or the concept to them as well. And I think that's a real testament to how Alice travels, and it can be applicable to any community setting anywhere on the planet, quite frankly, because control is given to the community itself. We're around 48,000 acres collectively managed and maintained in the Alice program. Now that the number is hard to envision, but if I said to you that's over 200 square kilometers, and that's the size of Elk Island National Park, or somewhat bigger than Elk Island National Park, you get to understand that even though we haven't been at this forever, our impacts collectively are significant. We together have, virtually given Canada another national park, and I think that's a really good metric to sort of hang on to, that's how big collectively our impacts are. Of course, the new numbers aren't in. We were around 1,600 active farm families participating last year. We're over 2,000 now. Of course, the 300 pack leaders, and you can count among yourself in that number. This number is interesting to me that we currently have 439 active partnerships across the country. Now, these aren't partnerships that we maintain at a high level. These are partnerships that you maintain at community level. And I think that that's really cool that the average Alice community like yours carries with it, on average, 10 partnerships at community level that are very, very meaningful. And of course, you're aware that we've tipped our toe into what's popularly called regenerative agriculture with 2 pilot programs, which I'll touch upon here shortly. It's becoming apparent that one of the things that we do very well is we've opened the doors to try and create lots of people that could come in to fund our programming while maintaining a one-stop shop for the farmer. So the farmer can walk in the door of your partnership advisory committee, and money can be delivered to complete the work from nonprofit organizations, from governments of different stripes, from corporations, and from philanthropic foundations, for instance. So it's a bit of a funnel in that we can aggregate all that energy into one door and one unit for you to run. And that's becoming much more important as, in particular, corporations are starting to address their landscape impacts. So our collective impact, again, are, tangible, verifiable environmental outcomes, lots of grasslands, lots of wetlands, lots of pollinator habitat. I did mention earlier that we have also dipped our toe in the water to what's more popularly being called regenerative agriculture. Our position on this is that we need to take a whole farm approach to building nature-based solutions. So that means working on the classic edge of field projects that we always have done, while testing some of the on-field projects and making sure we get this right. This is shows up in the form of the Growing Roots pilot program, which is around grazing and grazing lands, and sponsored by Cargill and A&W. I'm sorry, Growing Roots is in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and it's funded by General Mills principally, and Grazing Forward is Cargill and A&W, where we're testing regenerative agriculture techniques of many stripes. So bear in mind that Alice does a few things that are really important, and one of them is the top line thing I started with. We're advancing shifts that position rural Canada and rural Canadians as environmental solutions providers. We're also, as I mentioned, nurturing partnerships and community level collaborations that are powerful. The organization at Alice Canada has an extensive programming now where we're trying to quantify the work, quantify the ecosystem services through technology and research partners. And the why behind that is simple. The better we can quantify the work, the better we can understand the value that's being created through our work, and the better we can then communicate to our funding partners the value in dollars and cents, and that allows us to drive investment through what we're now calling Alice Nature and Climate Solutions. That's the portal that they can come through to invest in Alice and create the outcomes that are meaningful to the funders. This is a bit of a new statement that you've not seen before, and this is a statement of our values, our collective values, and I hope you concur. One thing that we're really hanging our hat on, and you are very close to, is that through Alice, environmental activity is economic activity. It produces a check in value at the farm gate. We're employing people, we're employing contractors, but we're turning environmentalism on its head a little bit. Where most people see pain in environmental activity, we can see economic pleasure, so to speak, through that activity. I think that's an important bridge to cross, especially when it comes to turning to communities like yours for solving problems. We do collaborate, we don't compete. Again, the sheer number of partnerships demonstrates our collaborative nature. I've mentioned again, local solutions, solving our local problems winds up solving the global ones as well. We are very much interested in long-term prosperity over short-term profit. I will say this, that, from where I sit, there's a lot of programming that comes in and out of our lives that is short-term in nature. I call them drive-by incentives, to be, a little bit catty about it. But the fact of the matter is, Alice, we intend, and I think you intend, to be a permanent fixture on the landscape to help build the long-term prosperity of your communities. Delivering through communities allows counties like Wheatland to have their own autonomy and look after their own problems and help develop truly grassroots solutions to complex problems. I think that's a really cool sentiment. And slow and steady wins the race. We aren't flashy. We just gut it out and grind it out every year and do more every year. And the next thing you know, we've created Elk Island National Park, which I think is cool. The secrets, what underpins Alice, of course, and the first one, that it's community developed. You're the ones driving and controlling the program. The exercise you just went through this morning to engage farm leadership is key to this. We need that grassroots support. We have a very good information management systems that help us again point out the value to our producers while protecting the privacy and the privacy of our producers. And then we also have several academic and technology partnerships going on, mostly to help us quantify our work. In other words, the better we quantify it, the better we can get paid. So quantification of ecosystem services is important to us. We're using innovative technology that's non-invasive. It's not in your face on the farm. I'll touch on that a little bit. And again, we're connecting Alice to the marketplace. In other words, real market value driven by real market actors that helps get our farmers and ranchers paid for their hard work in producing ecosystem services. I say here we're grounded in innovation. One of the things that sets us apart is people like Sarah do wonderful work collecting high quality information on what our work actually is. That becomes the basis of our ability to quantify our work, but it's also that information is what we protect dearly. We protect privacy, and we do not offer this information for sale. We're pretty clear on all that. So we do have programming running here. We have staff committed to ecosystem service quantification. Again, the better we quantify the outcomes we're creating in terms of carbon and biodiversity and water benefits, as well as benefits for resilience, the better off we are. And we do run some extensive work. And I'm just showing you a flow chart just to show you some of the work that goes on. And then the other thing that's become quite interesting is our ability to harness technology to quantify our work. There's two things I'll point to. One is we've done some watershed work with Dr. Wan Hong Yang. He's creating software that's predictive. It says if I put a riparian buffer here along this water course, what are the benefits that the community and the planet will experience from that particular project? That's cool stuff. And then the measuring carbon from the sky with satellites is effective, where you could actually, where a satellite could zoom in and give an estimate of the carbon sequestered on project sites, particularly effective on tree planting sites. We also, to do that, to use technology like that, we've got to train it. And we train that through ground truthing, taking some actual soil samples. And some of you may have heard of some of the activities going on in what we call ground truthing, these technologies these days. At Alice, our hallmark is this, that we produce outcomes, not paper. It's what we, as farmers and ranchers and a community, do. And we're really proud of that. I'm in an awful lot of conversations where organizations exist to produce reports. No, we produce outcomes. This is a shot from a cool shot from years ago in Vermilion, by the way. So fundamentally then, when we turn our attention to try and make sure we recognize the value that's being produced at the farm gate through the hard work of our farmers and ranchers, we turn our attention to the marketplace to say, you need to value the value of nature for in its own effort, but also the value of those people that can produce it. Those are the farmers and ranchers. And it's a complex thing. So it's complex because it's not just about carbon. It's not just about biodiversity. It's about all the things. It's about biodiversity, carbon, water quality, and also community benefits that we can experience are all wrapped up in this bundle. We really believe firmly that any effort to value just one of these things and not pay for the full suite of benefits is wrong-headed. And so this is fundamental to our work that we have to recognize the full suite of benefits that our farmers and ranchers produce, including the benefits we experience as communities. So we talk about carbon, for instance, water, biodiversity, and social benefits as well. So that said, we describe the outcomes that are produced across the landscape as new acres. They're acres that are managed and maintained by farmers and ranchers that didn't exist before. But if a funder wants to come in and sponsor or pay for the creation of more new acres, they have to be willing to recognize the full suite of ecosystem services. There's a lot of talk around peeling off one of these pieces, be it carbon or water or biodiversity. And we think the only right way forward is to recognize the complete bundle of benefits. So when we talk to corporate partners in particular, this is something we insist upon, that they recognize all of these things. So turning our attention to the marketplace, we can now offer ALICE nature and climate solutions for businesses. We offer investment solutions that can help governments, businesses, and other organizations investing in our outcomes by the acre and help achieve their goals. That's the connective tissue that allows people to come in and fund ALICE, that drives our programming, that drives money to the farm gate, and helps create outcomes that are meaningful to all of these several organizations. Now, we do take government money, but one of the things that we do very, very well is we leverage that money with private market dollars. And this is a list of just some of the funding partners that have come in to support ALICE over the years. And I want to just turn your attention to a recent conversation we're having within Alberta that spoke to this exact issue, that of the solutions we can provide. The Alberta government is considering ways to be able to document the emissions reductions work, the good environmental work that's done within Alberta, particularly in the Canadian context, where the government wants to make sure that everyone understands that the solutions that are made in Alberta are meaningful and real. We recently had a meeting with the AEP minister, the Environment and Parks minister, around this exact concept, that a further investment in the ALICE network, including Wheatland County, would allow more made in Alberta nature-based solutions and help Alberta reach its objectives from an environmental perspective in a unique way. We pointed out to them very clearly that the municipalities are key in delivering this program, and that was well worth the investment in this network to grow these solutions. I don't know where this will lead, but the point is well made. And I'm hoping that if any of you are encountering the Minister of either Agriculture or Environment and Parks, in particular at RMA, which we'll all be at, some of us will be at RMA together, we will be having a presence there ourselves. But making it clear to those people, those ministers, that we can provide made in Alberta nature-based solutions to meet their larger priorities. And we're ready, willing, and able to do so. And that would help carry the conversation on that we've started with the government. I don't know if you've heard this so far, but in Alberta now, we've committed to help the government across the province with regional program delivery for the RALP program that they've recently announced. This is an acknowledgement that the ALICE network is very important and key to delivering agri-environmental programming. And we're pleased that that's a toe in the water to helping, the government invest in ALICE to further develop, to meet their priorities. I love this slide because I got to tell you, this carbon capture business, there's billions and billions of dollars going into this. This picture I'm showing you is of a carbon capture plant in Iceland that promises, with $3 billion investment, that promises to sequester around 37,000 tons of carbon a year. Collectively, in our Alice network last year, we sequestered far more than that, the old-fashioned way. With our people like us, with our hands in the dirt, with community interests at heart, we have a far more effective tool for solving environmental problems that is well worth the investment. And I believe we're trying to unearth a tremendous amount of value that we on the land are creating. That's the end of my formal presentation. I hope I gave you a little bit to chew on. I stand completely ready for questions, if you have any for me.
Thank you, Brian. That was really a great presentation. Any questions or comments in the group? I just would like to say, I think the reason that Alice works so well is just what you said, that the control is left to the farmers. It's initiatives are undertaken by them, not imposed on them. And I think that's critical for the success of these kinds of programs. And it's also, I think, so important to show, like you said, that rural producers are environmental champions, because I don't think that's the perception in urban Canada necessarily these days. There's a big push, seems like, to push farmers to do better, which is okay, except it doesn't show that we are doing things. And that the economic activity resulting from environmental actions are real. To seed on economic cropland to grass is something that is being done. Variable rate spraying is an environmental benefit that also is an economic benefit to farmers. It's cheaper, the less you spray, the better. We all know that. So all those messages, I just think it's so important to support them and promote them and that kind of thing. So I'm super glad that Alice is out there doing their thing. Yeah, just really proud of the work that's being done out there.
I concur, Shannon. Well said, and I appreciate Brian's enthusiasm from member to Smith.
Yeah, thank you. Excellent. If there's nothing else, Brian, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much for presenting for us.
And I appreciate it, and I hope to come in person next time.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll move to accept as information.
Thank you, Member Wilson. I'm in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Kester? Member Wilson?
In favor.
And Member DeSmet?
In favor.
That's carried. Thank you very much. I believe we have Dr. Michael Harding here from Crop Assurance Program, lead for the Government of Alberta. I think he's going to talk about canola disease and wheat head disease surveys. Welcome. We'll just get you set up on the podium here. And
great. Well, thank you very much for the invitation to be here.
If you just want to reintroduce yourself, I guess, and then we'll go from there.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Okay, great. My name's Mike Harding. I'm a plant pathologist with Alberta Agriculture, and my primary role with the province is crop disease monitoring, surveillance, and diagnostics. And so I work closely with the Alberta Plant Health Lab that's located in Edmonton, and I'm located in Brooks at the Crop Diversification Center South. And so I'm going to just talk really briefly about why we do some of this crop disease monitoring and then give you some current results from some of the disease surveillance work that we've done in collaboration with Wheatland County. Okay, so why do we do this? I'm going to talk about that in the next slide, and then I'm going to talk about just two of the surveys that we do. because these are the surveys that we rely very heavily on Ag Service Board fieldmen to help across the province to generate the data that we generate. So sometimes disease issues can be trade irritants. It's important for us to know sometimes if diseases are getting worse or if they're receding. Is there something new emerging? This could be fungicide resistance emerging or resistance breaking pathotypes of clubroot emerging, et cetera. It also helps to inform researchers on what priorities might need to be rearranged or placed in certain ways. And it helps life science companies and crop protection companies deploy management tools to regions where they're needed, when they can understand where things are going to be necessary. And then finally, we have under the Alberta Pest Act and regulation some pests that are regulated that we like to monitor to keep an eye on how things are going with those. I'll let you know off the top that what we try to do for each of the disease surveys that we undertake is to do a random representative survey. So anyone that's involved in soil sampling knows that your soil sample, you can't just go to one spot in the field and dig some soil and have that be representative of the entire field. Same with diseases. We try to do a representative number of fields in each county based on the number of acres of that crop. And we try to select fields randomly so that we can really get a picture of what's going on in the province and in each individual county. So I just wanted to introduce the thing that really links us with folks like Ag Service Board fieldmen or Ag Service Board fieldmen in each county is the Pest Act. And so the section that I'm in the government has a regulatory affairs branch that really are responsible for the act and regs. But the Ag Service Board fieldman is the local authority for enforcement of acts like the Weed Act, the Pest Act, and the Bee Act. And so I'm not going to take any more time to talk about that. I just wanted to let you know that this is kind of really what links our work in crop assurance with Ag Service Boards. And so we want to prevent the spread. We want to reduce hardships to producers. We want to make sure we aren't restricted in our international trade. And there's certain types of pests that we just don't have great management options for, and the best way to manage them is to avoid them or eradicate them if they show up, if possible. And so those are usually the types of pests that are regulated, is the ones that that's kind of the only way that we can really try to get a hand on it, or at least hold them off long enough for crop breeders to come up with solutions for them. I'm just going to point out the bottom bullet here on this slide. On the regulation, there are some potato diseases, there are some canola diseases, including clubroot and blackleg, and then there are some cereal head diseases. And I'm not going to talk about any potato diseases today, just to keep it simple. We'll talk about the diseases that we work with the Ag Service Board fieldmen to do the surveys for. So this is my group at the top. There's folks from the Plant Health Lab and from my group at Brooks. As I mentioned before, Ag Service Boards and Ag Fieldmen and their staff help out with this. And we also partner with other like-minded folks. So when you see some of the canola, especially the clubroot information, we partner with Steve Strelkoff at the University of Alberta to do that survey. And for other surveys, we partner with Ag Canada folks or Olds College folks. Anybody who's interested in joining the network is welcome to participate. Okay, so let's jump into some results. I'm going to start with canola diseases. So this is a map showing the 353 fields that were sampled in 2023. And so you can see that those locations, as I mentioned, we try to be random and representative for acres of canola. Here I have in the top graph there, we have the provincial results. So 324 of the 353 fields had some blackleg in them. So the disease prevalence was 91.8%. And this isn't terribly uncommon. Blackleg, if you look hard enough, you can find it in just about any field. In our survey, we found it in just about 92%. The incidence of disease, that's the number of plants that were assessed. And so in our survey, each field, we look at 100 plants. So that would be about 353,000 plants. that were evaluated, and 26% of those had blackleg symptoms. And the disease severity is a 0 to 5 scale, 0 being no disease, 5 being a dead plant. The overall disease severity across the province was 0.5. And so what the results tell us is that blackleg is very common. We can find it in most fields. The disease incidence has gotten a little higher the last 2 years. We've jumped from 10 to 15% up to around 20 to 25% the last 2 years. So that's a little bit of a concern, but the resistance that we have to blackleg is still really functioning well, and so the severity of disease is still overall pretty low. Now, some fields that's not the case. And there were some fields that had high severity, but they're relatively rare, comparatively speaking, across the whole province. And then I've included the data from Wheatland County there. There were 14 fields evaluated. Thank you again, by the way, for your help with the survey. You can see the numbers are pretty similar for Wheatland County with respect to the provincial average. So this is a trend graph to show you. The green line shows the percent prevalence. That's the percent of fields positive. The blue line shows incidence, which is the number of plants positive. And as I mentioned, we had a bit of a jump in incidence and prevalence in 2022 and 2023. We were glad to see that 23 wasn't worse than 2022 because we were concerned that there was a trend for increasing incidence, but it has kind of leveled off. I will say that the weather has a lot to do with some of these diseases, and so sometimes weather can suppress or push disease trends a bit. In addition to that, every survey year is a little different because we're in different fields that'll have different crop histories, different rotation sequences, et cetera. And so it does fluctuate a bit, but over time you can see these trend lines are that the prevalence is slightly decreasing and the incidence is slightly increasing. And the severity hasn't changed much over the last 15 years. I haven't shown that, but that's the case. Okay, let's look at clubroot. Here's the most recent map from Dr. Stephen Strelkoff at the University of Alberta. He and his shop produced this map. Our survey results that we generate when we do canola surveys feed into his. So we were responsible for about 350 of the 611 fields that were evaluated in Alberta in 2023. And this is a little bit more complicated here. The way Dr. Strelkoff reports it is the number of crops assessed in the survey was 611. In that survey, they identified 38 positive fields. So that prevalence, I think, was around 6%. But then there were other surveys or inspections done by municipal or county staff that identified another 19 plus another 122. So the total number of cases confirmed or reported in 2023 was 179. Now this number is way down. So last year, I think it was close to 300 new fields, and this year it's 179. We suspect that the environment, especially the dry spring we had across most of the province, really kind of suppressed disease quite a bit for clubroot. And in Wheatland County, we didn't find any new cases. So our prevalence, incidence, and severity for 2023 was 0 out of the 14 fields evaluated. Here's a trend line for cumulative cases. Since it was discovered in 2004 in 12 fields north of Edmonton, that you can see it fluctuates a bit, probably because of weather and other factors. But that red trend line is still pretty steep. And so this is definitely a disease that continues to spread. So while we're looking for regulated diseases like blackleg and clubroot, while we're in the field, we also look at other important diseases like sclerotinia. So even though it's not regulated, we still evaluate. And you can see the last time we really had weather conditions that drove high levels of sclerotinia was 2016. And since then, the numbers have been less than 10% overall. And we don't really consider a 10% infection something that's going to cause real serious economic loss, but it's at the threshold. So between 10 and 15% incidence is where you'd consider a fungicide application. And then that last line there, verticillium is kind of a new kid on the block, and we've been evaluating our samples for the presence of verticillium stripe, which is a new disease. And we haven't found any until this year. So we found one positive in the 350 some samples we evaluated. We found one positive. And just to let you know, verticillium stripe has been reported in Alberta by others previously. So this isn't like the first time it's ever been said to occur here, but it's the first time we picked it up in our survey. And we're not scouting for verticillium. We're doing a random representative survey to see what's out there. And 2023 was the first year we picked verticillium up in the survey. Okay, so that brings canola to a close. Let's talk about wheat head diseases. These are diseases that are on the Act: carnal bunt, dwarf bunt, and flag smut. Fusarium head blight was on the Act and it was removed from the regs in 2020. It's still an important disease. It's just not a regulated disease anymore. And so we continue to do a wheat head survey because we have these other diseases that we're concerned about. And again, while we're doing this wheat head survey, we also look for things like bacterial leaf streak and ergot and other things. I'm not going to report all that. I'm just going to let you know that carnal bunt, dwarf bunt, and flag smut, these are very, very serious trade, not just irritants, but if we had a carnal bunt positive, it would be really, it would be a very serious thing. And it would probably close our wheat markets around the world. So we don't expect to find it, but in order for us to say that we're free of these diseases, we do our due diligence to make sure that they're not present. So we're not expecting to find them, and we haven't yet. And we're going to expect that it's going to stay that way. But if there was ever a claim, it's important for us to be able to provide information to CFIA so that they can deal with some of these trade issues. Okay, so Fusarium head blight is one that we've worked with municipalities and counties quite a bit on over the last few years. This is not data from our surveys. This is data from the Canadian Grain Commission. This is their harvest sample data. And I'm putting that up there just to show you this because we don't do the survey annually for head blight because it's really expensive to do all the lab testing. And so we do the survey usually, historically, we've done it once every about 5 years. We've partnered with some researchers though who are interested in Fusarium head blight, and we've now done the head blight survey in Alberta for the last 3, and we're hoping to continue to do that in the near future to keep an eye on how things are progressing. But this gives you a good snapshot, even though it's not our data. This gives you an idea of what's been happening with Fusarium head blight in Alberta over the last 23 years. And you can see that weather is really important for this disease. And so 2016 was our worst year ever because I think it was one of our wettest summers across the province. There's a big jump in 2019. Why is that? It's because Fusarium head blight became more common in parts of Alberta that get more rainfall during the summer. And so most of that 2019 positive was not in southern Alberta. It was in other parts of the province. Since then, we've had a dry bias in our weather and we haven't really seen a lot of Fusarium head blight. It's important to remember though that the pathogen lives in the crown and roots of the plant. So it's still there, it's just not causing head blight in dry years. So when we get a wet year, we're probably, I mean, if I say it's guaranteed to happen, diseases always have a way of making a liar out of me, so I have to be careful how I say it. But when we get a wet year again, it's likely we'll see levels at the 2016 or higher because it has established itself in more of the province than it has. It keeps expanding its range every year. Okay, I wanted to just point out a couple of things here at the end. Couple of other diseases that we've been keeping our eye on in southern Alberta that'll be relevant for Wheatland County are wheat streak mosaic virus and bacterial leaf streak. And so I've got these 2 slides on these 2 diseases. We looked at wheat foliar diseases in 205 fields in Alberta, and we found wheat streak mosaic in 4, but because of the diagnostic work we do to help producers solve problems that they're not familiar with, we were aware of another 14 or 15 cases of wheat streak mosaic virus in southern Alberta. A lot of them were in Vulcan County and MD Tabor and Lethbridge County. So not too far away from Wheatland County. So this is something to be aware of. There's a couple of things that I believe are making this, every once in a while we'll see wheat streak mosaic show up. and it usually goes away. And you can see that kind of on the graph. One of the things that's changing though is, and of course today it's minus 30, but we've had mild winters for the most part, comparatively speaking, and this allows the pathogen to overwinter a little easier. In addition to that, the primary way that this disease makes it from one season to the next is it survives in dormant cereal tissue, so winter wheat. Winter wheat grows in the fall, it gets infected, it goes dormant, but the crop is still alive. And then in the spring it regrows. And the wheat streak mosaic can survive under those conditions. Now, if it's a barley crop and the barley crop dies over the winter, so does the virus. It doesn't survive unless there's a living host. So there's been a big increase in cover cropping over the last 5 to 10 years. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying cover cropping is a bad thing. It's a great thing, especially when it helps to minimize soil erosion, wind erosion, et cetera. But we have to recognize that if we're using cover crop options that are going to go dormant in the winter and regrow in the spring, we've created a green bridge for something like wheat streak mosaic. So cover cropping, we should do it. We just need to be aware of the principles that we can use to prevent or break this green bridge. So that's something to watch for here in future years. And then the last one is bacterial leaf streak. This is a disease that is really kind of emerging across the Great Plains in the United States and on the Canadian prairies. The graphic there is a little bit misleading because the survey changed a little bit in the way it was reported from 2022 to 2023. In 2022, that's the number of fields positive. In 2023, it's the prevalence. So we found it in 5 or 6 of the 205 fields, and you can see the blue spots on the map, the larger blue dots, that's the locations. So there was one location in kind of central, what would you call that? I'm trying to think of what county that is. Is that Lac La Biche? Anyway, there's a dot up there, but then all the rest of the dots are in irrigated southern Alberta. And so irrigated southern Alberta has just the perfect conditions for this disease to get going. And that's what's happened over the last 4 or 5 years, is we're seeing more and more of it. And so this is something definitely to be on the lookout for. We've sort of rung the alarm bells to crop breeders and researchers that this is an issue that needs attention. We need genetic resistance or tolerance. We need management tools like bactericides. Because it's a bacterial pathogen, fungicides are not effective. And so we need tools, we need better tools to manage this, because in the areas that it shows up, it has caused, in some cases, 40% yield loss in wheat. And that's not common, but that has happened in 3 or 4 fields. And so it is a real force to be reckoned with, and we're going to need the tools to deal with it, because like wheat streak mosaic, this was a disease that would pop, it would show up and then it would disappear. And that's happened for about almost 90 years. Like the first time this disease was reported in Alberta was in the 20s. And, but it has never been a serious issue that's continued to get worse. But that's what's been happening over the last 5 years. And we expect that's going to continue based on what we've seen happen in the United States. Okay, so thanks for your time today. In summary, I'm just going to say these partnerships that we have to create these surveillance and monitoring networks really help us to do a great job having random representative crop disease survey information for the reasons that we talked about. Clubroot continues to spread. Blackleg levels jumped up in 2022 and 2023. That's something to keep our eye open for. There are tools to manage blackleg by rotating resistance genes. So you can still grow canola, you just have to grow a canola variety that has the right resistance genes for the race of blackleg that you have in your field. And if anybody wants more information on that, I've got my contact information, we can talk about it. So we do have to take note of these higher blackleg levels and be ready to manage them with resistance gene rotation. We need to avoid a green bridge for wheat streak mosaic, and we need to be prepared to deal with some emerging diseases like verticillium stripe in canola and bacterial leaf streak in wheat. Okay, so that's it. Thanks very much for your attention.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Very informative, and yeah, it's good to know what's coming up, and it's very important work that you do to inform farmers of what to watch out for and how to address it if you do have it in your field. Any comments or questions from anybody else? George?
Hi, I just have one question here. So when you're counting club root positive fields, say you've identified a field 10 years ago that was club root positive, is there a point in time where it will be not considered a positive field?
That's a great question. So from the perspective of the survey graph that shows cumulative cases, no. But from a regulatory perspective, yes. So if you have a club root positive and it's very low incidence, and there's a notice to control, or whatever, some kind of regulation, or even just information given to the producer to say you shouldn't grow a susceptible host in there for at least 3 or 4 years or whatever it is. After that time, when the canola crop goes back in, if you go in and scout that field and don't find it, I would call it a club root negative at that point. And it would stay that way until, if and when it showed up again there. Yeah. So for the purposes of the survey and cumulative cases, no, that stays there forever. But for regulatory reasons, absolutely, it can revert back to club root free. Yeah.
So just another question on that. On the map and the club root one, your data showed no club root in Wheatland County, but the map showed it as being a light pink color. So that meant that it had been identified before, but just not in this survey for this
That's
year.
exactly
Okay,
right.
I understand.
Yeah. So we didn't find any new additional
This year.
fields in 2023.
Okay. New additional fields. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Should I see Ryan and then?
Sure. Ryan Greer, quick question regarding the Fusarium head blight. What removes it from the act?
Yeah.
In terms of like, how does that, because seeing the prevalence that hasn't changed, what removes it from the act or indicates a removal?
That's a tough one for me to answer because that happens way above my level of influence. So that's a decision made by the minister. And with the information that he was provided, it was, and I think, so the answer to the question is, I don't totally know why. But I think that a big part of it was that the ultimate goal for me as a pathologist is to manage crop diseases so that producers don't have negative economic impact because of them. And we got to a point where Southern Alberta had a very, very different situation with Fusarium head blight than the rest of the province. But lawyers won't let us regulate diseases different in one part of the province than another. We have to treat all Albertans the same. And so the only way around allowing people to do things according to what the needs are, I think, was the only way to get that to happen was to remove it from the act. And so now producers can manage the disease in Southern Alberta however they need to, and that nobody's going to tell them what to do. And growers in other areas that don't have it can still implement local or regional policies that we're not going to bring infected seed in because we don't have it established here. So I think the haves and have-nots issue reached a tipping point where they said it's in the best interest economically for producers to just make their own decisions, and we're not going to tell. So that's my best guess. But to be honest, those decisions are, like, I provided some information to that, but then I was out of the loop up until the point the decisions were made. So I hope that doesn't sound like a cop-out. That's just the reality of where I stand in the org chart.
Understood. Thank you.
George Bloom here. I'd just like to add in, I seem to remember some discussion regarding the Fusarium being removed from the Pest Act. It had to do a lot with economic reasons that Alberta was hamstringing themselves and other regions were not considering it an issue. So I do think that it was to even the playing field.
Especially for seed growers. It was a real issue for seed growers in Southern Alberta. So I think you're right, George. Okay.
Any other questions? No, we're good. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time coming down to meet with us, and your presentation was great. Thank you.
My favorite thing to talk about, so thanks for the invitation.
Great.
I'll just get your drive here.
Can I have a motion to accept for information?
I'll make the motion to accept the canola disease and wheat head disease survey presentation as information.
Thank you, Member Greer. I'm in favor. Member Eichert,
In favor.
Member Greer,
In favor.
Kester, Member Wilson,
In favor.
Member Desmet.
In favor.
Great, that's carried. Thank you very much. I think we will take a 10-minute break now. If everybody's okay with that, we'll come back at 10:25. Okay, we'll call this ASB meeting back to order. The next item on our agenda is 2.3.2, 2024 ASB Bursary and Award Committee appointments. So this is for our, sorry, I need to just get my, I guess I can turn it back to George to describe.
Hello, George Bloom here from administration. I'm just going to speak about the background for the Bursary and Award Committee appointments. Provision is given to the Agricultural Service Board, bylaw 2019-29, for the board to appoint an advisory committees relating to its function as a board. Historically, 3 members and 1 alternate have been assigned to the Agricultural Service Board Bursary and Environmental Stewardship Award Committee. And we would like to appoint the board today.
All right, so on our Bursary and Award Committee, last year I sat on the committee. Who else was on it? Sandra Desmet, I believe.
I believe I was on it.
You were on it? Yep. And, oh, Glenn was on it? Oh, yes, Glenn was on it. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I had to recluse myself because I had
that's right. Your
a
grandson.
grandchild on it.
Mhm.
So I'll recluse myself right off the bat this year. I've still got grandchildren's graduating.
So you'd rather not sit on the committee?
Yeah, just for
because you
that.
have, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Fair enough. Well, are there any nominations, or would anybody like to put their name forward to sit on this committee?
I'll nominate Ryan and Jason right off the get-go.
Okay. I would like to still sit on that committee if that's possible. Is there, so Sandra, are you interested in continuing on that one?
I would still put my name forward if that's, but if we have enough, that's fine as well.
Well, we can always do a vote. Or what?
I'll abstain from this committee. I think there's enough representation and I'm sitting on the ALUS.
Yep. Okay. So then we would have me, Jason, and Sandra. And then we would need an alternate, I guess. So,
And I'll put, say, and Ryan could be the alternate.
and then would you mind doing alternate? So then if somebody is not available, you would sit in their place?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can I get a motion? There's one on the screen if,
I'll make the motion that the board appoint members Laprise, Wilson, DeSmit, and member Greer as the alternate to the Agricultural Service Board Bursary and Environmental Stewardship Awards Committee.
very good, thank you. Any discussion? I'm in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor?
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Kester? In favor. Member Wilson?
Yeah, in favor.
And Member Desmet?
In favor.
Very good, that's carried. Excellent, we have a committee. I think we're moving on, right, to, yep. Next item is 2.3.3, Bank of Montreal Farm Family Award for 2024. Go ahead.
George Bloom from administration here. I'd just like to talk a little bit about the the award here. So each year, outstanding Southern Alberta farm families are nominated by their municipalities to receive the Bank of Montreal Farm Family Award presented each year at the Calgary Stampede. Guidelines include the selection of a family deserving of recognition for both agricultural and community involvement. The farm family must be active in primary agriculture, have agriculture as their main source of income, and have members residing on the farm. It is important to note that this program focuses on recognizing the contribution to the enhancement of quality of life as a family unit, not necessarily the business of farming. Nominations made by the board will be submitted by administration to the Calgary Stampede Agriculture Department using the attached nomination form. Nominations are due before January 20th, 2024. Thank you.
So for this, I actually nominated a family in my division in Wheatland County. They are Craig and Celeste Christensen. They own Parflesh Farms. I don't know if there's any other nominations coming that weren't brought forward already. I think that might be the only one. I don't know, for the record, should I read their letter? They put together a letter outlining their family farm history and how they're involved. I think I will, just because we just received the information, and for anybody listening online or whatever. Anyways, I'll just read it. Our names are Craig and Celeste Christensen. We are grain farmers in Wheatland County. Craig is a fourth generation farmer, and we live on the family farm at Chancellor. It was purchased by Craig's grandfather, Charles Christensen, from the CPR in 1926. The family farm was homesteaded in 1913 by Craig's great-grandfather, Edward Christensen. We celebrated our 100th anniversary in 2014. We crop approximately 12,000 acres of wheat, canola, barley, peas, and some alternatives. Our zero-till practices and our use of variable rate fertilizers and chemical application technologies continue to be of primary importance to us. Our goal is to produce safe and sustainable crops with the greatest emphasis on continuously and conscientiously bettering the shape of our land for our future generations. We have 3 boys, Cale, age 13, and twins, Charles and Edward, who are 11. We are so fortunate to have Murray, Craig's dad, who helps us during seeding and harvest. Our operation consists of ourselves, 2 full-time employees, as well as 3 seasonal employees. We are as well a very busy family outside of the farm. 8 years ago, Craig and 5 other community members took the initiative to revive hockey in Standard. The association started with 14 kids registered, and registration numbers have now grown to 90. It was a huge undertaking, and not only has it become such a vital program for so many of our kids, it has combined 4 communities together to ensure hockey will continue for years to come. Craig has been heavily involved as a hockey coach and has coached one of his 3 boys for 9 years. He's also a director of the Standard Egg Society Board, ensuring the rink is operating to its full potential. Celeste is also heavily involved with the Standard Egg Society and does all the bookings for the ice. It is her job to make sure the arena is being used to capacity. 4 years ago, Standard's outdoor arena became a reality. It has been such an amazing addition to our community, always busy with recreational skating and hockey. Both Celeste and Craig worked hard on the planning, building, and fundraising phases. Celeste organized skate-a-thons for 2 years. Proceeds of $36,000 went towards the outdoor rink. Craig and Celeste have each shown such dedication to their community school. Following is a letter written by Michelle Hilton, principal at Wheatland Crossing. Craig and Celeste Christensen are outstanding members of our Wheatland Crossing School community and are committed to making a positive impact on the students and the overall climate and culture of WCS. There are numerous pieces to making a school successful, and since I became principal of our school in 2022, it has been clear that the Christensens' desire for WCS to be a rural school where students are afforded greater opportunities to develop skills for the 21st century in their community school. In particular, Celeste's dedication and commitment to the overall school community is pivotal to the success of WCS. Celeste has been a member of Wheatland Crossing School Council and has served on the board as both a treasurer and vice president since 2016. Countless hours of volunteering have been dedicated by Celeste as she organizes school fundraisers, supporting teachers in the classroom, or working behind the scenes to advocate for support for our students and teachers. Recently, Celeste has taken the initiative to support WCS by sourcing out materials and resources for our community fitness center. This has involved meeting with staff to learn about the school's vision for the new space, time spent meeting with equipment consultants to learn what might be needed, and connecting in person with local nonprofit organizations to advocate for donations to be made in support the school in creating this space. Our school is fortunate to have access to an abundance of technology to leverage in the classroom because of the efforts and means of the Christensen family. Collaborating with Celeste has been inspiring as her dedication ensures that students not only have access to tech, but are also provided the opportunity for increased engagement in learning academics and 21st century skills that will serve them well outside of the school setting. Celeste's dedication and hard work serve as an inspiration to others and encourage them to follow. I appreciate having a family that is so committed to making WCS a rural school that provides big opportunities to our students, staff, and anyone fortunate to be in our community. And that was Michelle Hilton, principal of Wheatland Crossing School. So I would say they certainly are a very deserving family. The reason they came to my attention is that Craig coaches my son in hockey, and he said something to me not too long ago about how coaching kids hockey is more about teaching them to be good human beings and kind people, and not so much about winning the game. So I really appreciated that about him, and I think they're an excellent option for our BMO Farm Family Award. So with that, I will move that Wheatland County ASB nominate the Christensen family for the 2023 Bank of Montreal Farm Family Award. Yeah. Any discussion? Then I will call the question. I am in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Kester? In favor. Member Wilson?
In favor.
Member DeSmet?
In favor.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everybody. That's carried. I'm super proud of this family, so I'm going to be so glad to let them know that they're winners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next item on
Thank you.
our agenda is 2.3.4 2024 Provincial ASB Conference Charity Auction Item Request. Take it away, George.
Good morning again, George from administration here. The Star Silent Auction will be held at the Provincial Agricultural Service Board Conference Banquet on the evening of January 24th, 2024. The hosting South Region, which includes Wheatland County, has been tasked with organizing this conference and is requesting this donation as noted in the letter attached to this report. We do have a contingent of ASB members attending this conference, and it is in Lethbridge this year. And I wanted to bring this forward because it was an ask from the South Region. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Any discussion?
I'll move the recommendation.
Excellent. Thanks, Member Wilson. Anybody have anything more to say? No. All right. I'm in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Kester? In favor. Member Wilson?
In favor.
Member DeSmet?
In favor.
Great, thank you. That is carried. Next item, 2.3.5 Wheatland County Shelter Belt and Eco Buffer projects.
And through the chair, George from administration here, I would like to make a request that Sarah Schumacher and I can present this from the podium.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
So George Bloom and Sarah Schumacher at the podium here. We're just going, this is a very big report, and Sarah will have the technical information, and then I will read from it, the background here. So the Wheatland Agricultural and Environment Department is proposing to plant an eco-buffer demonstration project on county-owned land adjacent to the county administration building. Additionally, it is proposed to plant trees and shrubs on other vacant county-owned lands. Initial funding for this project was approved by the Agricultural Service Board pending 2024 budget approval by council and submission of a detailed plan at the January 10th, 2024 Agricultural Service Board meeting, with the expectation that administration would find supplementary partners in funding. The proposed project has linkages with Wheatland County's Shelter Belt and Eco Buffer Sealing Program, which provides funding to landowners for new tree planting projects in Wheatland County, as well as our Wheatland County Agricultural Stewardship and ALICE programs. So I'm going to go through this report very high level. Just you can please feel free to ask any questions as we're moving forward here. So you can see we have tree and shrub species selected here. So these have been chosen based on their drought resilience. Oh. Could we get that on the screen? That'll be page 31 for your reference there. Yep, so there's the species. So we do try to keep as close to native species as possible. Oh, I'm sorry. So you can see we have lots of trees and shrub species and forbs. We have some perennial forbs. On the bottom of page 31, you can see a site preparation plan. And this has been designed in a way that we can scale this up and down to various projects sizes. So we do have some potentially different sized projects moving forward. And then I'll just read on here. Eco-buffers are planted at far greater density and structural diversity than traditional shelter belts, with 2 meter spacing recommended. The Wheatland County Agriculture and Environment Department has the equipment and manpower to assist with or perform site preparation, planting, and long-term maintenance. Snow fencing, irrigation, and wood mulch have been budgeted for with the aim of reducing future maintenance costs and an increase to the successful establishment of the project. Because of the scope, the project could be installed in phases. Many county staff have been consulted in the development of this plan, including emergency fire services, manager of operations, community services coordinator, facilities supervisor, general manager of transportation and agriculture, the foreman, our hamlet operations foreman, etc. The Agriculture and Environment Department will take semi-annual measurements of tree diameter, height, and survival rates and track weather from the Brooks Research Station to learn more about tree planting in the county from this project. Signage would be installed so that visitors of the sites can learn more about eco-buffers and tree planting projects and the benefits of these projects and the species that are adapted to the region and planting and maintenance best practices in our climate. So the first project we're proposing is the maybe I'll let Sarah take over from here if you like.
That's the county lands line? Okay. Okay, through the chair. Sarah Schumacher. So the first project that I'm going to be talking about is the Eco Buffer demonstration project here on the lands west of the county administration building. Currently this land is not used for anything. It's just mowed, providing very little ecological value. So we feel like this would be a really good place to put this type of project. It would both screen our public works operations and provide an opportunity to demonstrate some tree planting projects in the county, as well as also provide an area for staff and visitors to our building to walk around. Okay, you're going to read all that information. So this is the proposed location of the project. It will fluctuate a little bit. It looks like there's a pipeline out there. It doesn't show up on any of our systems. So we haven't done a one call or anything yet. So it's still an estimate.
Pending approval, we will go through these processes.
Yes. Oops, sorry. So yeah, so that's that project there. And it's, about a mixture of trees and shrubs. I'll get into it later, but one of the funders that we've contacted is more interested in trees, so we can use the county funding for some of the shrub species to offset that. So the next project that we've included in the sort of phase 1 is at the Carsland Lagoon, and there's 3 different areas there where we could plant trees on that that land. Yeah, that's around 10 acres, and we did just hear back that there's a pathway that's going in on that area, so we'll have to work with that group to make sure that it works for everybody, and yeah, if approved. So that will be the plan going forward. So you want me to do the tree estimate, or yeah, I can read it.
I guess
This is more of a traditional shelter belt planting. That's rather than it will include some shrubs just because we know they grow well here. But yeah, I think that's all for the Carsland Lagoon. So the next one is at the Rosebud Oxbow, which is county-owned lands in the town of Rosebud. And this first area proposed is 3 acres, so it's just this little bit here. There is the adjacent lands right here, which have potential also to be included in this project, but we're still just looking to see if there's a leaseholder there, because
if it's appropriate to move forward with that.
Yeah, and for this project too, if approved to move forward, we would do some community consultation just because it's within the hamlet. So the cost estimate of we've right after our last ASB meeting, we were contacted by staff at TELUS Environmental, who work with the 2 Billion Trees program, which is federal funding. You've probably heard about it. So they're interested in paying for 50% of the trees and up to 50% of a maximum of 10% shrubs. So we've been in conversation with them, and they also have additional funders that might be interested in even boosting up that 50%. And then I went with the staff who came out from the TELUS Environmental, and we went and talked to the Eagle Lake Nurseries to get some idea of whether they might be interested in partnering, and if we move forward, we would put that out to all of the businesses that provide trees in the county, just to be fair. And so yeah, our budget right now is looking pretty good for the phase 1 with the budget that was approved. We could do all of those sites with that funding from 2 Billion Trees. And it's really nice to be able to go through TELUS, because the minimum number of trees that has to be planted if you apply on your own to the 2 Billion Trees program is 50,000 trees, which is way outside of what we can do. And they also have staff who can come and help and plant them. So, so that's a benefit for sure. So the maintenance costs, usually maintenance is recommended for a 3-year period for watering. Here at the administration building, we would have access to irrigation. So that would be less of manpower cost. And then there would need to be some watering at the other sites, which the Hamlet crew has said they have the capacity to do that. And then within our own department, we have that equipment and manpower. And if going forward, we have some staff who can do that, then that'll be an option too.
Sorry, can I just ask a question
Yeah.
on that phase 1? Just going to the Carsland Lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
Right along there, is there any issues with seepage if we plant certain types of trees there? Because I know Bazanos had that trouble. They just redid their lagoons along the highway about 2 years ago. And there's quite a few poplars along there on the one side. So I was just curious if we've thought that through, or else is this going to cost something down the road?
Yeah, Brad Bullock, through the chair, that's a very good question. And we will take that back and make sure we review that with the lagoon. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Through the chair, George here. We have discussed this with the manager of technical services regarding a buffer from the lagoon berms, and he has indicated our spacing is adequate to reduce influence to the structural integrity of the berms. Thank you.
Just one comment on when you approach the residents of Rosebud, they have their own irrigation system. So you might be able to work it in with them, because they string pipe up and they pump it out of the river. So the first 3 years would be handy, but the years after following.
I think that site will actually have really good moisture too, because it's in the old oxbow of the Rosebud. So
Yeah, well, that's the old fields were in there for the sewage systems. It would be nice to get that all cleaned up and for sure. Another site too maybe would be the inside of that racetrack. It looks would be nice to, we have some moisture resistant type plants, shrubs, maybe more in there.
All right, George here from administration again. So you can see furthering on past these sites, there's the Gleason tree planting project here. Now this is incorrect. I understand that some information was forthcoming after the package went out that these are potential future leasing opportunities for the Gleason Ag Society. Yes, so so we are aware of that.
that's just
moving
one,
forward.
right?
Yeah.
This one.
That would be, yeah. Jason, you're familiar with that?
Yeah. Yeah, just I know the Bronx match. They've added, you can see the arena there, but if they want to grow that event or have another larger rodeo, they'd need, I mean, both are used for parking currently, actually. But I'm sure there's ways around that, however you want to move the trees. But yeah, both are used. I know the car shows on the west one, and then they park all the trailers and all the contestants on the east one.
Okay, that's great information.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so I mean, just consultation with the Ag Society
Absolutely.
would be the best, probably. I mean, whether, of course, you open it up to the whole community, but I would make sure the service groups are aware of it, because they're the ones that are dealing with those events. So.
Great, thank you so much.
Could possibly do something smaller on the south part of the west parcel or something like that. But yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same thing that.
And I mean, the west part, that east parcel used to be quite a few trees actually, but that fire went through and took a lot out in 2017.
Thank you very much. Continuing on here, George. So here's some potential cost estimates for the phase 2 of the project here. We did discuss some other areas that turned out to be too small, and there may be some more restrictions regarding some of these waste transfer sites. Yeah, so
Have you ever considered the previous Gleason Reservoir site?
No.
Because that's vacant land at the moment, and it is just sitting there, and it's owned by the county as well.
The old freshwater site. Yeah, great. Thank
Just north of the waste transfer site.
you. Great. So this is the potential project. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Just say, I've reviewed the package, really thank everyone that was involved in putting it together. Appreciate it shows leadership from the county, provides demonstration to those that are interested in participating in something like this. I think the pathway in Carsland is a plus. It will allow some opportunities for those to enjoy it. One question is just, is there any way that this rolls into ALUS or some other funding? Not that there's a huge monetary value and it's already been approved by county, but I'm just curious if there's any other partnerships that have been considered.
Macker, through the chair. The issue with Alice and the 2 Billion Trees program is that they both take carbon credits, so you can only use one or the other. The other thing is that the Alice funding is for agriculture producers, and so for us to do it, it would be probably a little bit more complicated. We could possibly ask Alice if they have some additional funding that they would be interested in putting into the project. It would be tricky with the 2 Billion Trees program though.
And George here from administration, I'd just like to point out that we are still investigating other grants to put on with this program. So that's there's still options out there for increased funding opportunities, specifically the Fortis Alberta grant. So we're keeping our eyes wide open, looking for all kinds of resources.
Awesome, thank you. With that, I see no issues in phase 1. It looks like there's some consultation in phase 2, but happy to support this.
I just want for everybody, for staff to bear in mind that a tree in this country needs 5 years of loving care. So we might be able to do phase 1. I just don't want to be, if we have capacity, if the Hamlet crew has capacity to do this, I just be cognizant of going into phase 2. You're still going to be watering trees for a couple of years in phase 1 in order to, because it doesn't do any good to plant a tree and let it grow for 3 years and then it dies. So just as long as that's where I think this is a great idea. The people can understand what's involved in planting a tree in this country and what trees work the best. So yeah, I'm all for this. So.
Just George here from administration again. I'd just like to acknowledge that this site at the Wheatland County Administration Building, we have potential to tie in with irrigation on this site. And we are investigating potential irrigation options at the Carsland site as well. And of course, we're going to try and keep our costs down very, very low. And thank you.
I also support the project. I think it's a great initiative, and I do like the idea of the demonstration site, that it's somewhere somebody can come and get some knowledge. And I'm so conservative, though. I wonder if it could be phased a little further out, like planting 1,700 trees here plus 1,700 in Carsland. That's a huge endeavor. And do we want to do it more slowly so that we can prove it out as we go, or just curious? I'm just so conservative.
Sarah Schumacher, administration. So it is a lot of trees, but it's because the eco buffer here is a little bit different. The density is higher, right? So you have to remember that it's. And when I talked to one of the specialists that we work with, he said they actually grow better if they're denser, because they sort of support each other as they're growing up. And we can definitely scale it, but I think the cost savings in having it all done all at once is probably there. And I think, we can still, there's still a lot of unknown factors in terms of the actual area and the number of trees that we can get this year. So I think, and because we have the 2 billion trees spending right now, that's, and they like to get it done kind of all at once rather than come back over a couple of years. So that's just some points.
That makes sense. Yeah, thanks for that. Just further information there. We did have a couple of other questions. Yeah, I guess that's all. Yeah. So generally speaking, though, are we in support of the project? Do we want to make a motion or?
I'll move that the board direct administration proceed with phase 1 of the shelter belt and echo buffer projects as presented.
Very good. Thanks, Member Kester. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. I'm in favor. Member Reichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Kester? In favor. Member Wilson?
In favor.
And Member DeSmet?
In favor.
Excellent. That's carried. Congratulations. It'll be really exciting to watch this progress, and yeah, fun project, and it'll reflect very well on the county, I think, just to show our commitment. Yeah. Next item is point 6, councillors to attend the Ag Conference. Oh, yes.
Yeah, just to, I think if I could just make a motion that we allow, we'll pay for the per diems and and any associated costs of any counselors that want to attend, that are not on the ASB board, that want to attend the ASB convention, that be allowed. You can craft that a little bit better than I babbled that out there, and I understand.
Shen is the miracle worker of motions. It's fantastic. Any discussion?
I just have a question. Is this ASB prerogative or is it a council prerogative?
I was going to bring it up at council, but our council meeting got canceled, and so I'm doing the next best thing. I think it probably, in my mind, it probably should be picked up by council. But we could actually, I don't know, going forward, we
could make a motion pending council approval at our next council meeting. What about that? Because
yep.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I honestly think that in my mind that this is the council should be picking this up, as opposed to be an ASB thing.
If a councillor wants to go to a function on behalf of council or himself, him or herself, they should be asking council for that remuneration.
But because of the way this sort of lines up, and we don't have a council meeting before that, it's just like, I just want.
No, we don't have.
Yeah, just to, I was discussing this with CAO Henderson early on as well, and yeah, I shared similar sentiment that the cost of the conference, as well as the hotel and the remuneration, would come out of the ASB budget. However, we both felt similarly that it would be advisable that it does get ratified by council at the next council meeting. There is an issue where the conference does happen before the next council meeting, and so it'd have to be a ratification afterwards rather than so for council to consider that at the next council meeting anyway. But yeah, so I guess there is that risk that council will discuss it as council and decide not to. But yeah, there's sort of a fine line. It would probably be just advisable for council to do that.
But we can use our we can use our budget as ASB, so you can make the motion and have council ratify it.
Yeah. I'm going to move that that board approve per diems and associated costs of any councillor that wishes to attend the 2024 provincial ASB conference in Lethbridge from January 22nd to 24th, 2024.
Should we add in the ASB budget? Out of operational?
To be paid for out of the ASB budget?
To be paid for out of the ASB budget. Yeah.
Still new, still got lots to learn in terms of seeing and understanding the budget. Could we word it that it, if approved by council, is coming out of that operational or that council budget, and if they don't approve, it's coming out of ASB? Because ASB would already cover, my understanding is they would already cover the councillors and the ASB members that are attending, correct? Yeah, so I think it's if they choose not to cover their other councillors, then it would come out of the ASB budgets.
Yep, that sounds good. Yeah. Could we modify the motion a little bit to say to be paid for out of the ASB budget unless approved by council? To be paid. I don't know how.
Yeah, it's a bit, just in terms of the budget, the council does approve the ASB budget. It does all come out of the same operating budget, however, even though ASB does have its own GL codes. So it might be a bit of a moot point to do it that way, but the point remains that it's a tough one, where I think the ASB does have some ability to pass this motion, but it's still, I think, on the safe side, probably advisable for council to consider it at the next council meeting as well to ratify it.
Okay. All right, we'll leave the motion as is then, and yeah. Any other discussion? Yep, Member Kester.
There are other conferences that councillors attend, not just ASB. And this is a council question. And how come we're just picking out ASB? We could go to FCSS, or we could go to no different. And just this bring one out. And this close to the conference, I don't know, is there even still time to get registered? Yeah, I'm just against it just because it's not inclusive. There has been no debate. Yeah, I can't support it.
Well, I understand where Glenn's coming from. I think that's the council debate that you're waiting on. So, I mean, all I can say is, yeah, I think the more council members at ASB conference, the better educated they are. Then this is coming from this board, not council. I mean, that's your guys' decisions, but I like to see as many councillors there and versed in agriculture as possible. So I think it's great. And if council has other plans, that's that. It'll already have happened.
Yeah, I agree with Member Wilson that from my ASB hat, I'd prefer that all councillors really attend and get knowledgeable on it. I'm not sure what I'll vote for when it comes to council, but from here, I would support this motion, I guess. So any other discussion? I'll call the question. I'm in favor. Member Reichert.
I'm in favor.
Member Greer.
In favor.
Member Kester. Member Wilson.
God, I hope I don't look like Tom.
There's quite a difference.
I'm in favor.
And Member DeSmet.
I'm in favor.
Great, that's carried. Thank you, everyone. Moving on, our next item is the Environmental Stewardship Awards. And we had a little conversation about this, so we just struck a committee to review. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed. My notes are all over. I apologize. Our next item is the Ag Smart Olds College item that Member Greer raised.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So again, forgive me if this has already been discussed or has taken place or is in progress, but I recommend considering sending a contingent from Wheatland County to Olds College on July 30th to attend Ag Smart 2024. I think if we can confirm this early enough, I would have had it for the next agenda, but Given the planning that's taking place currently before April, it would be quite customizable at this point in time for that contingent to attend all the different elements of Olds College, given the smart farm and other research taking place on site.
Excellent proposal. I have not looked into the conference or the program, or so it's farm research, did you say? And
So it's essentially an agricultural innovation trade show. So lots of different attendees from all over, but they're also at that time doing showcasing the innovation that's taking place on site through the Ag Smart, doing tours of all the different elements of the site. I think it would be just great. There's other counties that are sending contingents, and I wanted to bring it forward, given the ASB mandate, to bring it to counties' attention and see if there was an appetite to send a group for that event.
yeah, I think it's a great idea. How would we want to, would we just want to take volunteers, or how would we, and then just ratify attendance, I guess?
Through the chair, I just have a question to staff. It racks my memory, but I believe staff has been there a couple times before. I think Sarah has been there with Russ. Russ usually went. Yeah, as I remember, I was pretty sure we've been there before, so I don't think it would hurt to keep going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, through the chair, George here from administration. That has been one of our operational things for staff to attend, just to keep up to date on a lot of farm technologies and things moving forward. So, and it had always ever been just a day trip for us. So we always found it incredibly valuable. So it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a one-day thing, or is it?
It's 2 days. I would recommend, just for the networking and political aspect, that the first day is usually the most popular and best to attend. And so it's great to hear that staff's attending. I think, just given same principles on the last vote, if councils get some exposure and ASB board members that haven't attended, it would come highly recommended on my part.
Yeah. So all that's really required is that whoever is interested in attending brings forward a motion to have their per diem and mileage.
Yeah, just to comment through the chair, I know Farm Tech doesn't happen anymore. It hasn't happened for a couple of years, but I know we used to have the option to either go to ASB or Farm Tech, just to keep cost down. Go ahead.
It's my understanding that it's called the Crossroads now, and that it was there was a council item presented previously for members to attend either or.
Yeah, so we still have the options to go to choose the conferences we go to, which I think is great. But that it goes back to that we can just on budget issues, I think we should try to keep it, not go to as many possible. I know when I wanted to go, when I was on council and I wanted to go to both, I paid for Farm Tech out of my pocket because I didn't want to dive into public funds, because we are also producers, active producers, and it's not just a benefit for the municipality, it's a benefit for ourselves as well. So I don't fully agree with reaching in on every conference to go to. I mean, the last motion was sending a counselor, and as a resident, not a council member, I want my council members to be there and understand it. But as a producer, I also probably am going to go to these events anyways. Like, I was probably going to go to Olds anyways, so I don't want to dive into public money if I was already planning to go.
So on that note, can we have Olds approached, at least as a organizing it together? Like, same as me, I have no interest in, like, I'm attending on a different note anyway, but I'd like to see some, if you have the ASB people, the counselors, the staff that are attending, could we have it as a uniform contingent that can then actually attend together? And take place or take part in specific events, like set up, prearranged with Olds College, versus just attending on our own, doing your own thing. Like maybe there's some opportunity there, and at least then there's some networking, there's some relationship building, and there's also potentially some conversations that can take place on how this relates back specifically to our county versus a single producer perspective.
So when you're talking about going as a contingency, do you mean it would be prearranged with, we'd be involved with I'm just trying to get clarity.
Yeah, maybe instead of worrying about the financial per diem piece, it would be having, if we already have council and or staff attending, it would be attending with them and having it set as a Wheatland County tour together.
That'd be a question to staff. I fully agree. I mean, if we could go as a group, it would make more sense, and we might get more out of it on a board level and as a individual. So would we be able to have staff organize that and still pay for it ourselves? I'd assume so. It wouldn't be hard. You just give us a deadline to get registered and find a hotel if we want to do 2 days, and then go from there, I'd assume.
Yeah.
George here from administration. We would certainly be willing to work towards making that happen. You bet.
So Ryan, maybe would you want to make a motion to direct administration to coordinate with ASB members who want to attend? It's Ag Smart in Olds to.
So I think the motion would be to direct staff to connect with Olds College organizers and have a Wheatland County contingent tour, so that we can all take part in certain elements of the Olds College Ag Smart event.
Okay, sounds good. And coordinate with ag members who wants to go.
Correct. On their own.
Yeah. To be paid out of their own pockets, kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Shanna's just got something coming here. There we go. Does that summarize?
I believe so. Just for clarification, is staff attending both days?
George here from administration. Generally, no, we would only ever attend one day, and usually we would try to attend the first day as well.
So I would modify that to read July 30th, 2024, and then I would move that motion. So I'd move that the board direct administration to connect with Olds College organizers to arrange a tour and coordinate with ASB members who want to attend Ag Smart July 30th, 2024.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. I'm in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor?
Member Kester? Member Wilson?
In favor.
Member DeSmet?
I'm in favor.
Excellent. That's carried. Thank you very much. All right. So now. Thank you. Yeah, our next agenda item is about having a potential award for women in agriculture. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. I've just been reading a couple of the commodity newsletters and everything, and they've really been pushing this. There's usually been nominations and a new person every month or so talking about their operation and what they've done and everything like that. And it's really pushing for females to take over the family farm, which probably isn't as common as it is become. It's not as common as it should be, and it probably should be shown off on the individuals that are choosing to do that. Just out of my head, Hannah Conchu would be one, and I know she's highly talked about on the Wheat Commission as well. But I mean, I don't think it's just those individuals we should be looking at and promoting. It should be those that have also dedicated their whole life to farming. I mean, I was trying to figure it out how to say it yesterday, and I kept thinking farm wife, and I'm like, that is not what it is, because Diane Brown is more of a farmer than a lot of farmers I know. She is as much of a farmer as my grandpa is. But on top of that, she also raised 6 kids. She ran a business. She sat on the economic development board here. I mean, I think similar to the BMO farm family, we should be judging these individuals, these ladies, on what they've put into agriculture, their family, and the community, and a rounded lifestyle around that, rather than just because she's the only daughter of a family farm that she takes over the farm. Well, yeah, that's great, and you probably will see that more and more, but that's not just the aspect of farming. Farming is about rural community and donating time to your family and your community. Sitting on boards, running kids to hockey, sitting on hockey boards, hall boards. You go to any small town hall board, curling board, hockey association board. In small town Alberta, the majority of them are farmers. We look at where the money's raised for the hospice, hockey arenas, everything like that. The largest amount of donors are rural farmers, and their wives are the ones that are doing the majority of the work. There's the old saying, every successful farmer has a wife that has a job in town. And I think we just have to really pay attention and pay our respects to those women. And I would just love to see the county put together an award for that yearly. So it was an idea that came up when I was reading about Hannah, actually, and I was like, I want that to be something we can stand up and say we're proud of this. These women are the frontier of our community.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and I agree with you. It needs more recognition. There's amazing women out there doing so much more than you can necessarily see, I would say. So maybe, do we want to make a motion to direct administration to create an award along our lines of our environmental stewardship awards?
Yeah, I was hoping to make that motion. I just wanted to kind of get where everybody was coming from, and maybe some parameters that we could direct staff to look into. So I don't know what anybody else had any thoughts. Tom's quiet.
I'm thinking.
Member DeSmit here. I'm just thinking here that I don't think that personally, if I'm just thinking about if it's a monetary award, I wouldn't be for that. I would be for if that monetary award would be put towards some sort of community project.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
Just to jump in, I'd never support a monetary award. I was thinking a plaque, very similar to our other 2 awards. I think we've set precedent there, and I think just recognition of the person. There's no monetary award being mentioned. So.
Okay. Just thanks for the clarification.
Just clarity, our other awards do have a small award, do they?
I wouldn't want any.
But
I think most people would just appreciate the recognition, maybe a write-up and a plaque.
George here from administration. One potential issue that we have is getting nominations for the awards has been challenging in the past and moving forward. I would be very happy. I do think it is a great idea. So we could very well network with potentially our board here and create an award category to bring back to the April meeting. We'd be happy to do that. I just am concerned that we have another category, so now we're scrambling for more nominations.
Yeah, and perhaps the solution there would be similar to the BMO Family Farm Award, and not have everybody try to think of somebody. I mean, our job as board members is to be around the community and to acknowledge the good activities that our producers are doing, and recognizing them. I mean, that's why we choose the BMO Farm family. And I think this could be very similar. Just so then you don't have to worry about, okay, well, we haven't had a nomination in 3 years, but now we have one. And I think we could take this step in. I mean, Shannon did a great job finding our BMO Farm family, and I think it's not hard to do that. We can all think of neighbors, people we know within the community, outside of the community, that probably need to be recognized. So
I think as board members, though, I do think that it would be nice to have multiple nominations. I think I've nominated the last 3 years of Farm Family.
yeah, I think I did the same.
I would love to see more nominations for all of the categories, but that is what it is. And so I think George makes a good point that we need to be more responsible to bring forward the names of people that we know in our areas.
On that note, though, just so I understand the wording, I would still want to see it go out to the community for nomination.
Yes, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
With that, of course, I think we have a responsibility, but I think obviously the hope is we have the community putting forward names as well.
Yeah, our environmental stewardship awards are meant to be from outside of this body as well, but and in fact, we did receive 2 this year from outside of this board, so that's a beautiful thing that there's becoming more awareness of the fact that these awards do exist, and that community members are coming forward to do their own nominations. That's exactly where we want this to go. So, but in the building up of it, I think we need to be responsible to get the awareness out there. Anyways.
And just one final thought with these awards, I do think they are picking up momentum. I think that it is out there, and a lot of the award recipients, regarding the monetary gift card they received, most of them donated it.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
it's a great thing. Cole Hintz, for example.
Oh, very good. Do you feel like you have enough to make a motion?
yeah. I mean, I've never been good at that, but I'll make a motion to direct staff to bring back parameters and requirements in regards to a Woman in Agriculture Award for Wheatland County for the next April meeting.
Beautiful. Any other discussion? George.
One final thought here is, oh, pardon me, my mic is off. George from administration here again. One thing that the county does do is we do participate in a ladies livestock lessons workshop, and that is January 19th. So you can find more information about that in my report. Thank you.
All right, I'll call the question. I'm in favor. Member Reichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Castor? Member Wilson?
In favor.
And Member DeSmit?
I'm in favor.
Great, thank you very much. That is carried. So we'll get a request for decision next meeting regarding that. Where are we now? We are on. Now we are on the Environmental Stewardship Awards. And so I just want to preface this by saying we just in this meeting created an awards and bursary committee. But because we have the nominations for the 3 environmental stewardship awards, there is one each for each of the categories. So there's not really a need for the committee to get together to decide. It's sort of in a position of these nominations being acclaimed for the awards. So maybe we'll just make a motion to, and so in your package, I think you have seen the nominations. Is that in the package?
George from administration, the 2 nominations that we had before were emailed out to the Ag Service Board.
Oh, okay.
And currently the one was
And
identified today.
Yeah. So let me just see if I have that. Son of a gun, I thought I had it somewhere here.
Do you have it, George? Would you be able to speak to the, oh, maybe I have it here. No, I don't. Speak to the two nominations for the community and the youth awards.
I don't have it here.
So for the youth award, we have Brian Montgomery.
Thank you.
And he is nominated. Rylan Montgomery. And I'll just read this quick. Ryla really cares about her community, does stuff to protect, reuse, recycle, improve the community for her future, people who follow in, and this is for her future and people who follow in 2023.
Just sorry to interrupt you. Just a note to the board. Just have to be cognizant of some FOIP concerns with some of the applications and nominations, and so if the board does want to review them in detail and the details of the applications or the details of the nominations, we might want to go into camera to do that. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, thank you for the, you know what, since we're not debating this, I don't think we do need to go in camera. Maybe we'll just name the
winner.
The winner, yes. Or if you even want to make a motion.
Is that okay? Can we name the winner? Okay. So the youth nominee is Rayla Montgomery. The community nomination is Crother Memorial Junior High Ag Club. And then the other one.
And so for the J. Laszlo Legacy Award, we have a late submission, and so I just have it here. And Amber Link had suggested Ryan and Jana Greer. Ryan, who sits on our board, if there was a decision to be made, we would need to, you'd need to recuse yourself. But since there's not, I would just like to offer the award to you and your wife for your farming practices.
Thank you.
So we need to make motions, I guess. I will move that the board nominate Ryan and Jana Greer for the J. Laszlo Legacy Award. Oh, we should have voted on Jason's, I guess.
Yeah, I'll move that Ryla Montgomery win the Youth Stewardship Award.
Okay, let's vote on that first. I'm in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor.
Member Kester? And Member Wilson?
In favor.
And Member DeSmet?
In favor.
Very good, that's passed.
And then do you want me to just keep going? I'll nominate the Crother Memorial Junior High Ag Club for the Community Stewardship Award.
Beautiful. I'm in favor.
In favor.
Member Greer.
In favor.
Member Kester. Member Wilson.
In favor.
And Member DeSmet.
I'm in favor.
Great, that's carried. And I'll move that the board nominate Ryan and Jana Greer for the J. Laszlo Legacy Award. I'm in favor. Member Eichert.
In favor.
Just on the vote? Oh, I'll just, yeah, you just won't vote. Or I suppose during a vote.
So
Abstain.
sorry, I just declare a conflict of interest in me voting on that.
Perfect, thank you. Member Kester. Member Wilson.
In favor.
Member DeSmet.
In favor.
Fantastic, that's carried. Congratulations to all the winners. George will be in contact and we will arrange to have photos and award presentations in the summertime. Very good.
And would it be possible to showcase what they accomplished for their award? I think is important too.
Yeah, George from administration. I'd be happy to reach out to the nominators and nominees and get further clarification to bring back to the board.
Just like their approval to provide more information about, is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yep. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
That'd be good. All right, our next item is the ASB bursary document update.
Good morning again, George from administration. Pardon me. You will find the printed out copy and emailed version of the Agricultural Service Board bursary application form updates. Administration is recommending some updates to the Agricultural Service Board bursary application form to help provide the Bursary and Awards Committee more personalized information about each of the applicants when making the decision regarding beneficiaries of the award. A draft of the updated application is attached with the proposed revisions incorporated. We wanted to bring this to the board because we did change the scope of this application form a little bit. So previously it was a question and answer portion, and it was about statistics from Wheatland County regarding agricultural production and such. So we would like to generally move that more towards a personalized essay of 500 to 1,000 words. You can see that the changes are listed in there. There had been some grammar and spelling issues that had needed to be updated as well. And then another point is the FOIP statement on the last page has been included on that as well. Would be happy to take any questions.
So I really like that you've gone. Sorry, go ahead, Sandra.
Yeah, sorry. I do like the idea that go more for an essay instead of just that little test that everybody just copied.
Yeah, I agree. Yep. Any other discussion? All right. So a motion to direct administration to update the Ag Service Board bursary application form as presented. Will anybody make the motion?
I can make the motion that board directs administration to update the Agricultural Service Board bursary application form as presented.
Thank you, Member Greer. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. I'm in favor. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor?
Member Kester? In favor. Member Wilson?
In favor.
And Member DeSmet?
I'm in favor.
Fantastic. That's carried. Okay. Item 2.4 is destruction of ballots. I guess. Oh, we never used any ballots. Thank you. Then we move on to section 3. The chair's report is in the package on page 41. Really, it's a summary. We have our October 4 ASB meeting. We went on a Wilder, some of us went on a Wilder Institute tour, which is just south of Nameka. They're doing amazing work in conservation of certain species. And then summary of the ASB South Region Conference we attended in Oyen, which was an excellent day of knowledge sharing. And yeah, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them, but I'll move that the board accept the chair's report as presented. Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question. Member Eichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor?
Member Kester? Member Wilson?
In favor.
Member DeSmet?
In favor.
And I'm in favor. That's carried. Thank you. We'll move on to the Manager of Agriculture and Environment report. George?
Good morning again, George from administration here. I would just like to go over my report to the Ag Service Board for the first quarter of 2024. Regarding operations in 2023, we did get to a second cut to the divisions listed under the operational heading there. The divisions that didn't get the second cut were Division 1, 2, 5, 6, and 9. We did have total inquiries from ratepayers, 310. We seeded 43 hectares of roadsides and borough areas. We recycled 100 and almost 11,000 kilos of agricultural plastics. We've completed our seed cleaning plant inspections on November 15th. You can see that we have completed 9 EFPs, 5 are currently in progress. 4 applications received for the WRP program, 13 producers potentially interested. The SCAP program, we've assisted 17 producers with applications. And a one-off here was the AAAF had a conference in early December, and they had asked me to do a seed cleaning plant tour. So I took about 30 municipal staff on a bus, and we toured the Strathmore and Hussar seed plants, and that was really, really well received. It's great to highlight our seed plants in our county. The Hussar and Strathmore plants are both just fantastic, and Rosebud as well. And the staff there have been just wonderful to network with on that. You can see some of the equipment we've gotten. We've received our new tractor, our Degelman mowers. We have the one-pass herbicide system has been received. We're very excited about that. We're receiving another swing arm in spring of 24, and staff have been winterizing equipment and light maintenance, and we're installing our skid unit spray system onto one of the new trucks we have received. You can see underneath, we're highlighting some upcoming events. You can see securing success, ladies livestock lessons, ranching opportunities, and our drought resiliency and crop production workshop, which will be February 28th at the Strathmore Library. And we will be hosting a farmer pesticide certificate program on March 5th. I'm getting a lot of calls about this. This is a very well-attended one. We have members from outside the county that always come to this as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions or any discussion that the board may have.
I take it that's 2023, not 2024, December 4th.
Sorry, is that for the seed cleaning plant tour?
Yes, my apologies. I'm not a time traveler.
It's always
my apologies.
It's tough when calendar flips over to the new year. One thing that George didn't highlight specifically, the Shelter Belt and Eco Buffer program, in only 3 weeks, it was fully allocated. So this is a huge growing program for Wheatland County. We just this year bumped the amount of money we were allocating to this program, and it is fully allocated within 3 weeks. So it's lovely to see people taking that program.
George here from admin. I'd just like to point out we are still getting calls about that.
I bet you are. I bet you are.
That is a very popular program, and it just shows that the Wheatland County residents value the trees, and going through the drought and the trees under duress, people are looking forward, and people are really taking that advice. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So.
And with the update of the program, didn't we have some, I don't know if it was a requirement or a suggestion that they come and learn a little bit about best practices to ensure survival rates?
Yes, and we will be hosting a Shelter Belt and Eco Buffer workshop with TOSO on March 26th. Oh. Yes, so that has just been confirmed yesterday, I believe. So we didn't get it into the package, but we will be advertising for that.
Yeah, that's really good, because that's a risk, is that you invest a bunch of money in trees and then don't do it right.
We had discussed potentially making that that you would have to attend the shelter belt, and we didn't do that. It is optional.
It's fine as long as it's available. I think that's the key. Yep. Excellent. Can I have a motion to accept the?
I'll move to accept George's
Unless there's any other. Yeah.
report.
Any other questions, comments, discussion?
I'd just like to, the second part of this RFD is to go through the ASB resolution tracker.
Can we do that just after I do this one? Yeah. I'm in favor of accepting the Fieldman's report.
I'm in favor.
Member Greer,
In favor?
Member Kester, Member Wilson,
In favor.
Member DeSmit.
In favor.
Great, that's carried. And now the resolution tracker.
Hi there, George here from administration again. So you can see on page 49 of your package, we have updated the resolution tracker from the last meeting. The July 5th board resolution ASB 2023-0705 correspondence is ongoing with that. They did have to take a break. They informed me on the building of that course and getting it out. We are still outstanding on our bylaw regarding the agricultural disaster delegation. That is in progress. And we have made all the proposed budget amendments. And yes, please let me know if you have any questions, comments.
The only one that I wanted to ask about is Resolution 2023-10-10 is noted as green, but you still have a draft policy to bring back. I thought that maybe should stay yellow.
Yes, you're correct. We have, we will put that back to yellow, yes.
Okay, just to follow it. Yep. With that amendment, can I get a motion from the board to accept the tracker?
I'll move that the board accept the updated ASB resolution tracker as information.
Thanks, Member Reichert. Any other discussion? I'll call the question. I'm in favor. Member Reichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor?
Member Kester? In favor. Member Wilson?
In favor.
Member DeSmit?
In favor.
Great, that's passed. And lastly, we have some correspondence here.
Hello, George here from administration again. We did receive a bunch of agri-recovery letters from various counties regarding the areas where compensation is being paid. There was some FFGA newsletters in there. One thing I wanted to really highlight on this one was the Siksika Nation Community Shelter Belt, that they are moving forward with that one. And then the Wheatland County Insect Report, that was from the government of Alberta as well, that will probably be of some significance to the agricultural producers. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Mm-hmm. Particularly, I liked the letter from Big Lakes County to Ministers Macaulay and Holland regarding the integrity of the pesticide regulatory system. I think he makes excellent points about government policy being swayed by public sentiment, not necessarily scientific evidence. And so this one resonated with me. So I appreciated the fact that they had written that for sure. I don't think there's anything that needs action.
Maybe just a quick question through the chair is, how is the Wheatland County Insect Report 2023 communicated to producers?
That's a great question.
George here from admin again. So generally the government of Alberta pushes that out. We would be happy to push that out to our communications department and advertise on our media if that's something the board thought there was value in.
Possibly adding it to the county connector.
Oh, yeah,
Be very good information. I showed it to my husband and he was like, oh, this is really good information. So I think others would be definitely interested in it. So maybe, do we need to direct administration to publish the insect survey results in the county connector and other sources, whatever they think is appropriate?
Yeah, through the chair, the board certainly could do that if you want to provide that direction.
Want to make that motion, or I can make the motion, whatever.
Yeah, I can make motion to include the Wheatland County Insect Report 2023, or sorry, direct staff to share that with communications team to relay that to producers in the county. I'm sure that's going to be worded better.
Wheatland, yeah. Any, are we good? Member Castor?
When you're making this report, and I do appreciate them, but when I look at it, I see all the land locations, and they don't really, without getting my map out, if you could maybe make a picture of the county and you could put a number in, and this number is Lagus bugs, or replace that somehow so you can get a general vicinity. It just makes simulation of the information a lot easier. I know it's not my field, but hey, that was half a mile away or something like that. Makes it more information useful.
On that note, is there any concern of sharing those again, maybe on a VoIP or confidentiality perspective? I mean, it's in our report. I think it's shared out, but I'm curious.
Yeah, through the chair, we would just be mindful of any of the VoIP regulations and make sure we don't share any information in there that contravenes any legislation.
If you use a picture of the map, you don't have to give the locations. I think that's all the producers are looking for, is their area.
Great comments, yep. Yep. All right, we have a motion before us. I'm in favor. Member Reichert?
In favor.
Member Greer?
In favor?
Member
In
Castor?
favor.
Member Wilson?
In favor.
And Member DeSmet.
In favor.
Fantastic, that's passed. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I will adjourn this meeting. Oh, I'm sorry. We need a motion to accept the rest of the correspondence's information.
Sorry, and I know there was questions before, but it just came to my mind because I was trying to find it. I know all the agri-risk, agri-recovery letters are in there, but why, is there any emergent resolutions coming in so far? Have you heard?
Through the chair, George here from admin. I am not aware of any.
Because I mean, that would probably be the best way to go about dealing with the agri-recovery is the emergence. And from what I've seen, there isn't anything there yet, and none of the. And when was the South Conference? Well, probably when was the North Conference? Because it would have been after the it would have been before the deadline of the agri-recovery announcement, which would have been October. Yeah, because that's probably why it didn't make it into the resolution of the North or any of the regions. It was happening during. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an emergent resolution coming in for this. Just thoughts. So I would hope to be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'll move the rest of the correspondence's information.
Great, thank you very much. I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
In favor?
Greer,
In favor.
Wilson,
In favor.
DeSmet.
In favor.
Great, that's carried. Thank you very much. Anything else missing? No. All right, that is the end of our agenda, and I adjourn this meeting at 11:54. Thanks, everybody. Great meeting.
Thank you.